T-800 and lack the mimetic skills to appear as anyone else.
Good, Sim, let's go.
Nice to see you. Get out.
Welcome to The Good, The Bad, and The Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Really hope you enjoyed last week's interview with sometimes actor, sometimes director, producer, writer, Griff First. Again, don't forget to check out his new movie, Devil's Peep, with, Billy Bob Thornton, Robin Wright. So cool, beautifully shot. And we talked about how he was able to land that script from the writer of the book. So that was pretty cool learning about that whole process and him talking about going to set with his dad, the great Stephen First, flounder in Animal House. Just, man, he was hanging out in St. Elsewhere, the Dream Team, and so much more. And in this week's sequel, he plays Agent Burke. And he gets murdered in this movie, which I was not expecting it. I expected him to be a bad guy. I'm going to say that now because he seemed very evil every time you saw him because he was working for Homeland Security. But yeah, of course, I'm talking Terminator Genisys, a movie I never saw before until over the last few days. And before we talk about Arnold and his new catchphrases, I got to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Doug. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I love, even with crazy work, crazy having two kids, son teething, I look forward to every time we can do these reviews. It's like a little bit of a little hangout sesh. We talk about, things we love about the film, some ridiculous things that we noticed during the movie, which there's a lot.
Not always love about the films.
Well, yeah, there's things you still always find a little nook and cranny to love. And I have to ask you, do you know what number in the Terminator series this is?
So I think like 4 or 5.
5.
Okay. All right. And there's one after this, right? I think it came out. I think there's one after this that came out like last year or something.
Really?
So yeah, I could be wrong. I thought there was another one with Arnold in it again. But maybe I'm wrong. I did see this movie. I saw this movie a while ago and, I didn't remember it. Yeah. So listen, I'm going to say, okay. So the action was pretty good. Special effects pretty good.
Well, you have to tell us your full recommendation.
No, I'm not.
I'm
going to say
good.
Right off the bat, though, I'm super confused about this movie. There was
I am okay. Dude, yes, this is like, again, I know we had one of our listeners like way back in the day when we did our 100th episode of Back to the Future 3. There's definitely some timeline issues with this. I mean, with that movie, with this, I don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly,
yeah.
I never saw 3 or 4. 3 was the one when Arnold was just about to become governor and he was barely in the movie. That was the one I remember, like a girl having a machine gun for her leg or something.
Well,
weird.
there's also, don't forget, yes, there was a girl. It was a girl. I think the third one was a girl Terminator, but then you also had the one with Christian Bale that Arnold wasn't.
Salvation. That was Salvation. Yeah.
And then there's one that came out like last year or 2 years ago with Arnold. It was. Yeah, he had gray hair in that one. He aged in that one. Yeah,
Pops,
I know.
Yeah, Pops is in this one.
There's so many. One thing that's interesting a little bit, and I know you didn't see Game of Thrones, right?
Oh, well, I didn't see it, but it's funny. Matt Smith and Emilia Clarke are in this movie.
Well, not even that. So Emilia Clarke, she plays Sarah Connor, and she was like the main good guy or good girl in Game of Thrones. The main bad woman, Cersei, who was like she played Sarah Connor in the TV show.
Oh,
the Chronicles of Sarah Connor
show. I like that show.
Yeah, I like the show too. The show was good. So, and she played Sarah Connor. So 2 Game of Thrones, the good and the bad, both played Sarah Connor. That's my tidbit.
Oh my God, that's your people in Hollywood. You're going to the bathroom at like the Viper room.
I got some sources.
Hey, you over there. I got to tell you the story about Sarah Connor, the 2 Sarah Connor actors. No, I have to tell you. You know, this is a random tidbit, and then we'll get into the review. But all I remember is the Sarah Connor Chronicles. All I remember is, like, I don't know if it was the premiere episode or the second episode was on Fox after the Giants beat the Cowboys on a Sunday night, like in the playoffs. I'll never forget that because I remember afterwards, I'm like, whoa, what's this show? And then you have this random person going into like murder because they were trying to kill her son in it. Yeah.
Aren't they always?
Yeah, I guess they always are. Yeah. Well, in this one.
Well, no. Well, this one, the rules go out the window. I mean, this one, there's so many things that don't make sense.
There's no rules.
And really, there's no rules in this one. And another thing is, like, I didn't know, like, the main John Connor was, I mean, I don't know if you saw Suicide Squad, but he plays, like, the Australian boomerang guy in Suicide Squad with the big bushy beard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's him. But I thought he looked familiar.
Jay Courtney.
I guess so. I don't know.
Are you talking about, wait. Yeah. He's the guy in
Oh,
Suicide
no,
Squad.
not John Connor. Reese. Wait. Yeah, Reese. I'm sorry. Not John Connor. Reese. The guy, the main guy that's with Sarah Connor. Reese.
Oh, yeah. Jay Courtney. Yeah. He's the one who plays McClane's son in the Good Day to Die Hard that we saw in the movie theater.
I don't remember that one. But maybe one day we'll have to do that one. So we'll see.
No, one day we'll have to do that one. But I think he's a great actor. I liked him. No, he was really good in the recent Honest Thief with Liam Neeson. He was one of the crooked FBI agents in that movie. But no, that was good. Yeah. So let's get into this movie because you know what's funny? I was so confused right off the bat because the title entrances for the title, like for the production companies, dude, the one for Skydance.
Yeah.
I thought it was part of the movie.
So did I. Yeah. That was very original. Very cool how they did that. That was and again, the movie goes right into it. But what year did that take place? The future? I mean, I wrote down.
The future was 2017. And this movie came out in 2015.
I thought it said 2029.
No. Oh, yeah. The future. Yeah.
Like
the opening scene, I think it's 2029. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we're in 2023. A lot would happen to 2000. I mean, like that was like that looked like the future happened already for like 200 years. The way their future is.
Yeah. Well, it does make you think, if you really look at it, is the fact that the main plot of this movie is like Skynet, and what they're doing is putting out Genisys, which is the name of the movie, and Genisys is basically putting all your stuff together, like when it comes to your computer, your home, your phone, everything, car. That's now. You can right now, like I could turn off lights in my house from my cell phone. So it's like, are we that far off?
Yeah, but you know what though? I could turn off lights with the light switch.
I know, but then everything's not connected, and that's where it gets bad because Genisys can control the little boy that talks through the.
Okay, I mean, I can't. That little boy thing. First, well, when we get there, I can't like the fact that he grows into a teenager and then he gets like it's like it's a little ridiculous. I mean, but all I kept thinking of every time they kept saying Genisys, I'm thinking of like because the kid got a Genisys for Christmas, right, or something like that, or like young Reese, wasn't it, or someone like they opened a box and it was Genisys. I'm thinking like he got a video game,
the video game system, yeah,
and that's what I was thinking. Like it was like like it was a video game. Like what I don't understand what he got that he was excited about. Like I didn't understand what that was.
No, I know. No, they didn't really like tell us until we saw later in the movie when they were like, when the father and son that ran the company were like pitching the product, and you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, but what kid would want that?
I don't know.
Like
I don't know why it would be.
The kid acted like he got like a PlayStation 5. Like he was that excited about it, but when he opened it, it looked like it was like an iPad. Like.
I know, that's what it was. How about the guy at the hospital? When he was waiting for it to load, he was like staring at a screen that was like showing a countdown. And he's like, yeah, Genisys, it goes live in a day and 12 hours. And I'm like, who? Like, why? Really? You would just stare at a countdown for something that's just linking stuff? That's essentially what it's doing.
People get that excited for it that they're going to have a countdown to watch? Like, okay. All right.
So no, it makes zero sense when it comes to like the Skynet. Like we mentioned like a few minutes ago, but like the fact that the guy's waiting in the hospital for it, just so ridiculous. But no, you mentioned like 2029. All right, and we get the voiceover. Jay Courtney is doing the voice. He's Reese. At first, I thought he was John Connor. Because you know what's great about this? I didn't watch a trailer. No joke. This is the blindest I've ever gotten into a sequel that we covered. Because in the movie, when I saw Arnold as top billing, I thought it was like, He's barely in it because I really thought it was going to be what happened in the third movie.
Sure.
Which I don't even remember if I saw. I'm sure I saw that movie because it came out in the late 90s, but I thought it was going to be the same thing. But no, he's fully in this movie in like so many different ways. But man,
I got news to you. I think if you watch the trailer, it wouldn't have helped. I mean, the movie's so confusing as it is. So so this is the fifth movie with basically, I mean, very similar plots in all five movies. They're trying to stop the few. Clearly, what they're doing is not working. Because they've tried 5 times now, and it still happens. So how about like changing the approach and trying something new? Because they literally every movie is pretty much the same plot, except this one just twists it around a little bit. But like, right? I mean, wouldn't you think that they would try to think of something different at this point? Like, all right, no, we tried it once, fine. Maybe try it a second time. No, 5 times, and it still happens.
No, you're right, but there's nothing. It's so weird. Like the future, it's like it's dystopian. Everything seems like it's on fire, and they just have to break that. Like that's the whole point of this movie is to break whatever that. So that's what makes no sense to me too. That thing time travels, but that's like where the source of everything is. So it's like that's for time traveling, but also it's like the core of the power of everything right in that room.
Yeah, I mean, the whole time travel drove me nuts because the fact that they even have another one somehow, I don't know how Sarah Connor has her own time machine. Like, I don't even understand that part.
Oh, you're talking about I know. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't get how they. Yeah.
So like I said, this movie throughout, and it's not even a joke. Like I don't understand so much of this movie, the flashbacks and re-seeing himself as a child, but he wasn't that child. So, but he has the flashbacks as that child, like, and then he kind of meets him, right? Or I mean, at some point,
see him meeting him, I thought that was gonna be like butterfly effect. I was like you can never meet yourself because something happens. But the only that's the one thing that sort of made sense out of like the 10 things I didn't understand. Later in the movie, when he basically repeats the same scene, when we see her touching him as a kid's hand, saying just go straight, which to me makes 0 sense because they're going down a stairwell. I never understood that. He just touched the girl's hand. The parents were terrible parents because the last scene in the movie's horrible. But no, we'll get to all that. But how about when it's Reese and John Connor, and John Connor's like, who's going to go in the past and do this? And all these people volunteer. And we kind of find out that it was kind of a ruse because the whole time, because Kyle Reese is his dad and John Connor knows that, but Kyle doesn't know that. Right. And so he's like, I'll choose you to go back. But just before that, they talk about what they'll do when they win the war. And John Connor goes, I'm going to have a beer. I'm like, all right, cool. And then Kyle Reese goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find my parents' house. And I'm going to rebuild it. In my head, I'm like, is he a carpenter? Ever since he was a kid, the world has been on fire. So he's probably never used any of that stuff. All
right. So right now, what you just explained, there's so many things that there's an issue. First of all, one thing I questioned, like, he has these nasty scars all over his face. Okay. Yeah. He lives in a future where there's time travel. There's robot. They couldn't do something better to fix the scars. But the bigger thing is, so you have John Connor sending Reese back so Reese can basically have sex with his mom.
Yep.
So John Connor could be alive. So first of all, that's weird.
Very weird.
Like, and he's so, I mean, and knowing that he's sending Reese back to an extremely dangerous time, because we've seen this multiple times. John Connor constantly sends Reese back, his father back, every single time, who basically dies. So he's sending his father back to death because he knows his father dies.
Yeah.
Like, and the fact that the whole memory thing, at what point do those memories start becoming real memories?
No,
right? Because does it happen all of a sudden? Like, all of a sudden, like, memories pop in your head because now the time happens. Because, like, it just, time, like when they do time travel in a movie, it's so difficult. The only one I feel, again, was Back in the Future. I think it was one when he starts disappearing from the picture, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that was pretty cool, right? You know, like he was erasing his memories and erasing his life. But here, there's no erasing, so it's like, but he doesn't have any memories.
Yeah, but here's one thing. I know I agree with you, but when they're not about to sleep with each other for like a while, because it doesn't happen really till the end of the movie. Like we don't even see them. We see them kiss, but they don't do anything yet.
I think they have sex when they're holding each other naked in the transport machine. I think that counts.
And he doesn't look down at her boobs. He's probably never seen boobs in this dystopian future.
She looked.
And he's like, yeah.
Oh yeah. He barely looked at her, and he seems very free. I mean, he literally, first of all, okay, he volunteers. He takes his clothes off, and he's surrounded by a room of 50 people. Like you don't think they could have said, you know what? All right, listen, he's got to go in there. It's a little embarrassing. He's got to take all his clothes off. How about everybody leave the room, and just John will stay here. No, they're all standing there and watch him walk naked into in a time travel.
It's a little cold here, right, guys? It's a little cold, right?
That would have been funny if you said that. As he's walking, he goes, all right, hey, listen, just want to tell everybody, it is a little cold, no judging.
No, the time travel, man, it's really confusing. Like really, really, really confusing. But so then when he goes back, so he's leaving, and right when he's leaving, we see Matt Smith, who's like an army person, who I guess somehow through Skynet became an actual human, and he's not a computer like generated form, because out of nowhere he comes out of nowhere, grabs John, his like neck, and then John Connor's screaming and he flies back. Like that's what happens.
But why not? If they could do time travel, why not go further back? Like go further back. Like I feel like they always time travel right at a time when Skynet's basically done. Like Skynet is just about done to do what how about like there was a countdown for like 2 days. How about go like years before that, like as they just getting started, and just blow up the building or whatever, kill the guy that's supposed like kind of the second one, right? They stopped that they came back and they stopped that one guy from right. Right. Or something like that. Like why? Like I feel like they didn't go back far enough. Like why did they have to go at that time?
Oh, I agree with you. I hear that, and I raise this. How about later in the movie? We can talk about it now because it's really in the same ballpark. When the computer, Arnold goes, the computer, it's evolving, so it's able to speed up the timer. Because when they arrived, it was like 13 hours, and the timer speeds up to 15 minutes to go. Why wouldn't it speed up to 15 seconds? Why leave any time for?
Wait, why 15 seconds? Why don't you just go right to like start?
Yeah, you're right. Blow it up. You know how many innocent people died in this movie? I don't think Genisys, the little kid matters, because we saw so many innocent people die.
Wait. You're counting him as a real kid?
No, not him. I'm talking about him as a real kid. I'm talking about like how about there's the gasoline truck driver who's minding his own business, working 10-hour shifts, and he gets blown up.
The destruction in this movie is ridiculous. I mean, not for nothing. I mean, there's in every Terminator movie, there's mass like innocent people, except for the second one. Arnold doesn't kill anybody.
Oh yeah,
he maims them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, the casualties, it's just ridiculous. I mean, and again, the fact that they went back to the time so they could show like a younger Arnold and the guy had the same mannerisms as Robert Patrick, or is it Robert Patrick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He definitely had the same movement, but they also made him Asian.
No, well, he's a different movie. It's a different T-1000.
No, he was supposed to be Robert Patrick. He was supposed to be the same character.
I don't know.
Yes, he was. Because it was the same timeline as the other ones.
No, that was 94. 94 is the second movie. Because John Connor at that point is.
So then why was that exact? So it was, okay, so if that was the case, then why was there this Robert Patrick type Terminator in 85? Well,
he was just in a cop uniform so he can infiltrate and people could trust him.
Yeah, but he wasn't. But I'm saying like that Terminator that turns into liquid metal.
He got sent back by Skynet. That's why. Oh, you think is that crazy, or the fact that we have another? See, the thing that makes no sense to me is we basically are watching a movie that basically says the first movie didn't happen, because in this movie we see the Terminator arrive. That in the first movie is a bad guy, and he has to just murder whoever, and he's murdering the street punks. They look exactly the same, which is kind of cool. Brian Thompson, Bill Paxton, they sort of look like them, same lines. And then you see Arnold walking up. And we learned that cool fight scene, but Pops. So he's Pops, and he was sent back to 1974 when Sarah Connor was 9.
Why? Like what? Like they don't know. They don't explain that. She said that he saved me when I was 9, when I was going to drown at 9 or something like that. Like why? Like they don't explain why. I understand that they needed Sarah Connor, but why 9? I don't know either, but
did you think he was a good guy? Because when she's telling that story, she goes, they came in, they shot up my house. So I guess that they could be maybe it could be different Terminator types people. But when we see Pops, he's holding a rocket launcher, and he looks down in between the cracks where she's hiding under the dock, and he looks at her, and you're like, I don't think this looks good. I really thought he was bad. I'm like, this is weird that he was good then. So I don't know.
But he was bad in 85 and it doesn't. But he was also bad at. Like I said, it makes no sense. I mean, again, why age 9? That makes absolutely no sense. Like why he was there, and so you're telling me so they really can go back at any year for whatever reason. You know, if they're trying to stop Sarah Connor, how about go and just kill the mom before she has a baby?
Oh, dude, that's the Hitler scenario. If you go back in time,
right?
Kill Hitler as a baby, and then none of that happens.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, clearly the machines aren't the brightest, because if they just did that, everything else will be fine. There's no John Connor at all. Somehow they missed the boat, and there's always a John Connor that's causing disruption in the future.
Yeah.
So if they stop, if they stop it completely with Sarah Connor, it's okay. Okay.
It makes no sense. I love Back to the Future. I love time travel movies. There's just sometimes when there's so much going on, I don't know. It's got to be hard to write it. You have to have a big whiteboard, and it's like, okay, this is happening. Well, if that happens,
I don't know. I think it's opposite. I think it's easy to write because they feel like, you know what, no one's going to understand what we're doing anyway, so we can just throw whatever. True. It's so confusing. It's probably confusing. They're probably talking to each other like, I have no idea what we're doing. I don't know. So you know what? But the audience is not going to know either, because we're just going to keep jumping back and forth. And Reese is going to know about his childhood, but he's not going to have the memories of it. So who cares? And Sarah I don't know. I don't know. It's just so confusing. This is almost as confusing as Terror Toons.
At least there's no Hulk Hogan, Sam Elliott looking grandmas. But no, how about
yeah. I was gonna say and what's with the Terminator? Okay, so the only Terminators that they make has to be like an Arnold one again, because it's.
I know.
And the Arnold they had, he was massive. Like, there's no way. I know Arnold was big back then. I don't remember him being he looked like the Hulk. He looked like Arnold Hulk.
70s Arnold. Like, that's what he looked like. He was big.
He was blown. He was blown up.
Leaner. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay.
But no, how about when they to get back to just before he time travels and John Connor gives him a photo, he goes, you have to go to 84. They're going to kill my mom. Here's a photo of her. And he goes, she's going to look a lot different because right now she's a waitress. Because in his mind, he has no idea that he has no clue about what's happened in the past before that, because he thinks that she's just like this normal person. But in fact, she's been training this since she was 9. So she's ready for everything. But when he goes, yeah, she's a waitress, and he goes, a waitress? And I'm like, there's probably no restaurants in the future. Maybe.
So they don't.
But he should remember the restaurant
in the future.
No, not that you don't eat, but then we saw later in 2017, he was like a kid, so he should know where the waitress is.
Of course,
he's probably thinking oh, this army goddess who leads this rebellion, she can't be a waitress.
Well, no, he acted like he had no clue what a waitress was. But what I also want to know is this. Again, this is the future that has time travel. They can't figure out how to leave clothes on when you're time traveling.
No, and the way they explain it is so great because it ruins Arnold from being able to do it. It was like any organic matter cannot.
I get the Arnold thing, but you're gonna tell me you can't figure out some kind of clothes. You have laser guns in the future. I mean, you can't figure out. All right, we made outfits that you don't have to walk around naked all the time. I mean, literally, that scene where they're both standing naked in the middle of the highway.
Oh yeah,
I mean, ridiculous.
No, but it doesn't make any sense because if humans can go through that, but Arnold couldn't go through it because he has organic matter, which is the same thing that humans are made out of. But they're saying that it would rip off. Maybe
it's like a microwave. They said like putting metal in a microwave or something. I guess I don't know.
Oh, the metal. Oh, that's what it was. Oh yeah, dirt. That's the whole end of the movie. The most important part of the movie I'm like skipping over in my head. I'm more worried about the how the cops arrive so quick in this movie because even when he lands in the alleyway and you have like the homeless Joe sitting there and he takes his pants, within seconds the cops are there. I'm like, how are the cops there that quick? Even when they go to 2017, how are they there that quick in the middle of the highway? Even like the bus scene, how are the cops already like getting ready to stop?
Yeah. And outside of the highway scene, because they were together, maybe they missed it. But like, I feel like in all the other movies, they always land in an alleyway. They always arrive in an alleyway, right next to a bump.
Arnold in the first one, he landed in a park, right?
Park, yeah. No, but Reese landed in an alley.
Oh yeah, he did.
So I'm talking about Reese. So Reese always lands in an alley somehow. Like he's able to control it, But yeah, Arnold lands in the park. And okay, and I mean, same thing with Arnold, but Reese sees a bum sitting there who's the exact same size as him.
I know.
And not only that, when he's being chased and he runs into the clothing, odds of him landing in a clothing store through the window, he runs past a pair of sneakers. One pair of sneakers he picks up. He puts it against his foot and he runs off with them. Like the first pair. I go shopping for sneakers. I got to try on 5 pairs before I find one that fits. He grabs one that fits perfectly.
Nailed it. That scene was really cool. Like the eeriness of, like the Robert Patrick, like cop, like chasing him in the store. And it's so cool to call back later in the movie that the cop that survived that was JK Simmons. I thought that was pretty cool. It was disappointed he didn't have more of a part in that movie. They made him seem very important for 5 minutes, and then we didn't see him for 30 minutes. Very important for 5 minutes, and then he disappeared.
Well, when he does arrive, I didn't know what his role was. Like, I didn't know he was I didn't think he was a cop. I just thought he was a crazy guy who had these conspiracy theories about time travel and everything else. Like, I mean, he's great in everything he does. But he also, like, I'm assuming he was a retired cop, but he seemed to have access. Okay. First of all, it seems that everybody has access to get anywhere very easily in this movie.
Yeah.
The cops are very okay.
I do love when Sarah Connor shows up because she says the line that Reese says to her, right? In the first movie? The original?
In the car. She's in the truck.
Yeah.
Come with me if you want to live.
Yeah.
She says Arnold's line, not Reese's line.
Oh, that's Arnold's line.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And okay, so and then you obviously see Arnold. Like if you had Arnold as like your, you find Arnold when you're younger, Pops, would that be like the name you'd come up with to name him? Like that's kind of, first of all, it's kind of like her father. Did her father die in that scene in the beginning?
Well, that's what she made it sound like. Yeah, the whole house got killed. And
so you basically replaced your father within seconds with a robot.
Yeah. Did she go to school? Do you think like they did like daddy-daughter dances and stuff? Like your Girl Scout cookies, he's like helping her do all that?
Well, I'll tell you right now, if they had like, like the kids versus fathers, like, like baseball games, he would crush it.
Yeah. Oh, football. If you'd be a football coach, you can help all. No, the funniest part about this movie that I was thinking of in a later scene when they're at, I just got to mention it now because I don't think I wrote it down. When they were breaking into Skynet or Genisys later in the movie, and he talks about, I worked here when they were building it. And he was like, I was able to break into the computer, which is crazy. This like technical thing. He was able to break in and put her fingerprint into the computer. The best is he's like, yeah, I worked here until I got laid off. I'm like, wait,
like I said,
it
was so easy. I mean, I wouldn't call it breaking in. I mean, it was really like, they basically it was very
The door
easy.
was open. The door was
open. I mean, you would think like this is like the most high tech thing that's happening. It's such a big event, big place. I mean, you think their security would be like top notch, and there really was no security.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Now Reese, obviously, because all the Terminators look like Arnold, he's freaked out. He wants to kill him right away. And dude, Arnold was messing around. He knocked him out.
Well, see, now that seems like, how does he know Arnold is a Terminator? Because when you see the future, there's not one Arnold. They're all robots.
There isn't. We see Arnold getting made. That was the only thing we saw in that intro scene. That was the Arnold that got sent back. But we don't know if that Arnold was getting sent back from 2029 or whatever, or what year it was.
So you know what? Maybe I missed that. So Reese saw an Arnold in the future then?
I don't know if he saw it. We assumed that maybe because we saw the one getting made. It was basically like coming off like a toy assembly line. The way it was like getting dropped down. It was a bunch of Arnold toys.
Was there I must have missed it. Was there multiple Arnolds like hanging there?
You only saw, you didn't even see the face. You saw the body and the outline of it, and you were like, oh, that's got to be Arnold. I saw the butt. I'm like, that's Arnold's butt.
Oh, okay. I wonder,
that's an Austrian ass.
Whoa. All right. I wonder what they use in the future to base Arnold on. Like what? Like they have all these people. Again, not one person looks like Arnold. So like, what made them think like, all right, you know what? We got to send back a killing machine. Let's send back something that looks like this. Like, I wonder what was the model? Like, it would have been cool if like the president of the future was Arnold.
Oh,
and they're basing it.
Maybe I was gonna say they found a VHS tape of Junior. They were like, let's use this guy. Which one? The really small guy? No, the tall guy.
Of all the Arnold movies, you bring up Junior.
Well, that's the funny part. That's the joke.
That's like the least Arnoldish movie that you can come up with. Like you could have said Conan. You could have said Kindergarten Cop, Red Heat.
Good. Running Man. We can go through all the Arnold.
Oh, okay.
Good one. No, I know. I don't know what it's just so. It would be great if there was all different ones. Obviously, for some reason, the other models have different looks because they can look like anyone, which we didn't get that in this movie. We didn't get one that changed. We had the one that looked like John Connor. Right. Spoiler later in the movie, but we didn't get one that changed like the way Robert Patrick did in T2. Remember, he was changing into everyone.
Well, I'm assuming the other one could have before they basically destroyed him like pretty quick. But
that's true.
How come? Okay, so why does it seem like in the future the bad guys have the better Terminators, and we just have like the old, like the good guys only have the basic model?
Well, technology. That's what it is. You know, these people are like,
but they're both in the future though. They're both in the future.
Yeah, but one has such advanced technology, even though it's still creating a cybernetic organism. It's one that has the computer. Skynet rules everything. The other guys are making it in a shack, sort of.
So they're building it on their own from scratch, like with hammer and nails. But the Skynet has the capability of making the T-1000, whatever. But is that what Arnold is? T-1000?
He's the T-800.
Okay, so the T-1000, it's a liquid one, right? So
yeah, and then the one that what's the name is at the end of the movie, it's T-3000. But no, the thing that doesn't make any sense is who sent Arnold back as Pops? They never told us that, because you would have to have control of that space to send people back. So was there a timeline when John Connor did control that space?
And why was he good? And okay, so if Arnold was sent back as a good Terminator to protect Sarah, but looks like Arnold, then they have the same resources to build Arnold as the bad guys who send a bad Arnold.
Yeah.
Also, so which means why don't they have the same resources for the T-1000.
Or,
an advanced model.
A guy snuck in, he infiltrated, he worked there for a day, and he was able to flip a switch. Maybe it's good, bad. He flipped the switch, and he was able to send him back and help. No. There's a lot of things that really don't make sense in this movie. Like, no joke, like not even like in a joking manner. It's really so confusing to think about Arnold waiting and like on his own for all these years, because he really isn't with Sarah, because he even mentions when he goes, "Oh, I got a job at the construction site." And in my head, I'm like, you would, oh no, he wouldn't know that. So he couldn't travel from 84 to 2017. So he was basically living a normal life, doing stuff,
having breakfast with her and just
karaoke. Well, she wasn't around.
You mean before
all those years? Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. He's like having this normal life. She leaves, and then he's all by himself for 33 years figuring it out.
You know what? That's a movie I would want to see.
That's what
Arnold. Arnold, the early years, the Terminator, the early years.
Yeah.
Well, so okay, so they explain why the Terminator gets older, and he gets gray hair. But wouldn't he also start deflating? Also, he's not working out anymore. Like,
I don't know.
Wouldn't his skin get like looser? If his hair's getting grayer, why wouldn't he get a little flabbier? Like, that would have been funnier. If he's getting older, then his arms are like, dangling a little bit, and he's got the neck fat.
We did see his fingers not work for a few minutes, which I thought some of that stuff was going to come back later. But it really didn't, like during a fight or anything. Because he, like, the one time his knee popped out and he had to snap his knee back in. But no, his arm like just doesn't work.
Do you realize that we're like 35 minutes in, and I don't think we talked about the movie yet?
Yeah, we're back in 84 at least. Now, we mentioned this so many times already, and it's something that is like an underlying thing. So this will be the last time I mention it. But the fact that she knows that she's going to sleep with Reese, and he has no clue until like hour 30. And so even this part, she even knows. And I think Arnold makes a comment, and Reese has no idea what she's talking about. I think he even says, like, "Is this the one?" or something weird. And you're like, what?
So, but even that part is strange, because like she knows that she first of all, she has to sleep. Like, see, how does that work? Like, she knows she has to sleep with this guy. Like, so even if she was repulsed by him, man, like, she has to sleep with this guy, because that's going to create John Connor. And like, what if like he was like all pimply and like, he had warts all over and like really ugly, but she had no choice. Like, is she like, forced? Does the future force you to do something that happens anyway? But like, again, back to that like weird stuff. Like, how, like, because she almost seemed annoyed by him from the beginning. And she
didn't like him. Yeah.
Okay. They fell in love in a matter of a day and a half. Literally, like, what's the timeline of this movie? Because it was nighttime, I think, once. I think it's literally maybe 2 days.
Yeah, no, she mentions that. I've only known you for 2 days. Yeah.
But he says, "I love you" in 2 days. I understand. See, I can understand her maybe saying, because she knows the future she has with him. But he knows nothing about this, and he fell in love with her in 2 days.
Yeah, I guess because he has the memories that are coming in from her meeting her as a kid, and I think his infatuation with John, which is kind of weird. Like, John was my buddy, and it's like, oh my god, I'm his dad now. I'm sleeping with his mom.
And the fact that he has memories of her as a kid really is weird.
Oh, it's creepy. Yeah, no, definitely creepy.
So he makes it to the future. Like, it makes no sense. Like, so he makes it to the future with John. But John's not born yet. She doesn't know. Technically, she doesn't know who Reese is until she meets him.
I know. That's what makes no sense either, because you would think the timeline would be reset. She should only know up until that point. Like,
wait, okay. Why does she know who Reese is?
Exactly. Unless the only way she would really know, and this is probably what the answer is. So if somebody's listening, they're like, morons. Pops came back from the future. He knows everything. He probably spit everything out to her and read the story to her at bed every night. Oh, in 1984, you're going to meet this guy named Kyle Reese. You're going to sleep with him, and then he's going to birth John Connor, who's going to lead the revolution. Because that's the only reason she would know. Pops would have to spit everything out. And it kind of throughout the movie, he does say these things, like, because he knows everything that happened between when he came back, so up until the future, Arnold knows a lot of facts, but no, it's confusing as hell. This confusing. One guy's telling her everything, that this is the guy you're going to sleep with, because she seems like he knows her. I mean, she knows him, which that's not possible. She
clearly, and she knows he dies.
Yeah.
How would Arnold know that? Because Reese is in the future.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, let's play this out for a second. So if Pops knows the future, that, all right, Reese is the father, but she mentions that Reese dies, but Reese is in the future already. So he doesn't die yet. So when he comes back home, and after she sleeps with him, and then they create John Connor, then he dies.
I guess, well, does he have to now?
Of course he has to. That's that's the whole thing, because she says he has to die. She says you die, or she talks to whatever. She mentions it in the movie that he's going to die. So,
well, that was assumed that he was going to sacrifice for her, like he did in
yeah, but that's going to change. That's going to change the whole timeline then.
No, it would, but I don't think it's going to change for like it maybe a little bit better that you have two guys that could fight. Yeah, no, I know.
See, it makes in the first movie she didn't know he was going to die, so that makes sense. He's from the future, comes back, but even that doesn't make sense because he's already in the future. So how does he die in the past? And he knows John in the future, but he dies in the first movie.
I know,
right? So which means John never met him to send him back.
Here's the only thing I'll say is because he wasn't born in 84 before that, he's not really part of that timeline. So essentially, I think he's born in.
Who are we talking about, John or Reese?
Reese. Like, how old is Reese, you think?
Well, in this movie,
how old was Michael Biehn? If Michael Biehn was probably 35 at that,
yeah, he looked old. He looked older. He definitely looked older.
Yeah. So maybe that.
Yeah, but again, he's coming from the future, being sent by John, his son, but he dies. So if he dies, how is he in the future? Like that changes the whole timeline the rest of the way.
Yeah, but he wasn't born yet. I guess if he was born already, I don't know. Okay, I'm just thinking because
I'm getting a headache.
Yeah, me too. So some cool scenes. The visual effects in this movie are really top notch, and even like that Terminator fight when Arnold first sees Arnold when he sees himself. That's a cool fight. Even when that it turns into just the skeleton and Reese fights him. But a scene that I thought looked like unbelievable, like when they were in that random room. I don't know how where the acid room is of somewhere, but when they get the T-1000 in the acid room and they just start shooting at the ceiling and it just starts
that was a trap. They set that up.
No, I know that. I know it was a trap.
Well, you said had they know that was their acid.
Where's an acid room?
They made it right now. No, they made it.
Oh, they made that.
They were all bottles filled with acid, all lined up. So they had bottles on the ceiling. They had bottles everywhere.
Oh,
so the plan was.
I knew where they went to was somewhere that was the place that she went with her dad when she was a kid, right?
And yes, and so the whole point was to attract him to go to that place where they set up with all the acid, because you see the bottles in the ceiling, like you saw all those bottles lined up. Yeah,
I think they were shooting at pipes, and I'm like, where's their acid in pipes?
Yeah, no. This is looked like it was like vinegar bottles, like lined up, with acid, and so yeah, that's why. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, Jesus Christ! Yeah. But yeah, so then we get that, and then right away, what do we get? We figure out that it's time to go to 2017. So
okay,
so
how do they? Why? Maybe I missed it. Why is there another time machine?
Well, Arnold talks about how he built it out of whatever he could find. So he has the knowledge from 2029 that he's able to bring back to 75. And over those 9 years, he collected everything he needed, I guess.
Okay. So let's for argument's sake, saying that, all right, he has the knowledge. He has the instructions on how to build a time machine, which is ridiculous. But I'm assuming the time machine that they're using in the future has different hardware and software and products that are not around right now, or that he's not going to find, he's not going to build that at lumber and all that kind of, like, it's like more high tech stuff. So what is he using to build the exact same time machine? And it was the exact same one.
I know. I don't know, like a Nintendo or ColecoVision, something like that. No, it's really ridiculous. The fact that happened.
Why? And okay, so if they have the time machine, why do they have to wait for Reese?
Are they waiting for? That's what I guess they.
Oh, they don't use it until Reese shows up.
Yeah, it's true, because they could have went to 2017 by themselves and did that, right?
They could have went. First of all, you got a time machine. You're never going to use it. Like, they're not going to use it. It looked like it was never used, right? So I think that was the first time they used it. So you have a time machine. When you start having fun with it and start going whenever, you could do whatever you want. You could, again, start. If she's got a Terminator, start early when Skynet starts, creating the stuff, and start there. Then you solve all the problems.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, no, okay. You go way before, so you're not cutting it close, and you have to worry about 5-minute countdown.
You know what? They're always cutting it close. It's always as late as possible.
I think movies probably suck if it was like, yeah, we stopped that already. There's no suspense. Like the most unsuspenseful superhero would be like, oh yeah, I did that already. Like, stop the bank robbery before it happened. How'd you stop him? All right, give him a flat tire. He couldn't get there.
We stopped it a week ago.
Yeah. It's never gonna happen. You're never gonna worry about it. I was thinking about this, like when they have sex, like, because she knows she has to do it. It's got to be it's got to matter when. What if 2017 they go there, they do what they need to do? Obviously, Arnold could build another one, I guess, but she would have to, while pregnant, go back in time because he has to be born in 84. If he's born in 2017, that's a long ways before he's going to get to where he needs to be. Well, he's not born in 84. Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah.
Okay. Why is he? Okay. So let's go back to the beginning. Why did John send Reese back to meet his mom?
Because he knows he has to. And like you said it before, he does that every time.
Okay, right. Okay, but I mean, they don't really break it down. They really don't explain why someone has to go to his mom. They just said someone has to take this adventure to my mom. Like, does he explain why?
No, just to protect her. People are going to be after my mom, and you have to protect her. That was really it. Not like, yeah, you have to go bone my mom, man.
What if one of the girls that was working with John said, you know what, I really want to go.
Oh yeah,
and like. And okay, you got to choose between you and Reese, and the girl wins. They're like, will that change the future?
Yeah, it'd be like the Bill and Ted Bogus Journey team, like best 3 out of 5. Best. John, just win the frigging game. God, so here it is. We're getting them. It's time for them to go into the future. Oh my gosh!
And then the Terminator has to wait even longer.
Well, this is when he's doing all his work in the next 33 years. This is when he's working at the place and he's figuring out everything. But how about when he finally gets to her, when he arrives and he sees them like getting arrested, like on the bridge, right? He sees them getting
yes,
yeah. And Arnold, look, the first words he says to them are "Did you mate yet?" That's what he says.
Okay, but how does he know the exact time they're going to be there? I understand. All right, we're gonna meet in 33 years. Okay, where?
Oh, unless he could put coordinates in. We don't see that they could do that. The capability of that is why would they choose an alleyway, or why would they just choose in the middle of the highway?
Clearly, but the fact that like they don't explain it, but somehow Arnold, the exact time, place that he was able to get there right when they got there. Yeah. Like he was like almost like or he's a Terminator because he doesn't have to eat. So he just sat there for 33 years on a park bench and waited for her.
Oh my God, dude. But again, when they land in the middle of the highway and they're naked and people are like honking their horns at them, I'm like, how are the cops there so fast? They got there so quick. Like, unbelievable. So yeah. And people died there, I bet, too, because they'd slammed on their brakes. And
I think they got a little distracted. I think they got a little distracted in that part.
They probably did. Hey, is that the chick from Game of Thrones? Oh my gosh, man. So then where are we at now? So, is this when we see JK Simmons already? Because he sees them at the police station,
He sees them. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Well, he recognized him.
He recognized, we saw Arnold,
Reese.
right?
No,
he recognized Reese.
He recognized
right.
Reese from the, I think that's what it was.
From 84.
But he knew, and he remembered, I don't think he saw Arnold yet. Arnold wasn't there yet. Right? Arnold
we didn't see
in.
Arnold. Yeah. Yeah, he just walks into the,
But doesn't he grab Reese by the neck when he first walks in?
Arnold?
Yeah, I thought he grabbed them because they were sitting in the doctor's office, right? They were pretending to fight in the gowns.
Oh yeah.
And I thought Arnold grabbed him at first. Maybe I'm wrong.
He might have because I think Reese always didn't trust him, and I think at that point he didn't think it was really the same guy, maybe because he didn't believe it was him. So it might have been that. I forget.
Right. Okay.
But that was the whole Genisys part. That's when the guy was on his thing, like Genisys can't wait for 2 days launch, and he's just like staring at a countdown. I'm like, nobody does that for anything. Yeah. But and then JK Simmons wants to get in there because he's like, oh my God, that's the guy that saved me 33 years ago. And from then he's always believed in time travel because he witnessed everything. He saw the landing. I guess somehow that's why the cops are there so quick, because they did see the landing of it in the alleyway because they were there so fast.
Yeah, but even at that point, they're still not thinking time travel, right? Because they think that JK Simmons is just crazy.
Oh yeah. Nobody. Well, we find out one of those girls, which she should have been later in the movie, that was working there, who was like a plant. She was like a T-1000 or whatever. They didn't really do anything with that after that because we didn't see her again. She just did what she had to do and then she disappeared. But the whole point of, oh man, I don't want to deal with this shit. The cop, he reminded me of like Danny Glover. He was like, oh man, I can't wait to get this one off my plate. Homeland Security is on their way, which is Agent Burke played by Griff. And then that never panned out too because I thought they were bad. The whole time I thought they were bad because they looked so like angry. Both of them, him and his partner.
Well, the cops really don't do a good job. I mean, even the security guy is playing on his phone. Well, the one security person that's like monitoring all the monitors, and he's playing on his phone.
Oh my God!
But back to J.K. Simmons, he doesn't help himself because he looks so disheveled. So no matter what he says, he just looks like a crazy person anyway. So I mean, he doesn't have to play the role unless he's just so like disheveled of seeing aliens 30 years ago that
he's all liquored up and he's like believes what he saw. Right.
They did ask him if he was drinking again. They did ask him. Yeah. So okay, all right.
So he's probably all drunk, from that experience that nobody believes him.
Yeah. Okay.
I do like Arnold. It was kind of like a callback to the second one when he had the box of like the big box of roses. He has the teddy bear. It's pretty cool.
But again, he's able to walk right in. He stands out like a sore thumb. And I mean, even the way he moves, again, he's a robot, and really, like the security, like throughout this movie, there's no security.
If it was like a little short guy, then it's like, maybe he can get through. But if I see this big hulking man walking in, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is a police station. You just can't go wherever you want. Nobody questions him at all.
And he doesn't say a word. He just so suspicious, but no one. Yeah. They're more concerned about J.K. Simmons than they are with Arnold walking around.
Yeah, no, they are.
This guy looks crazy, so we got to watch out for him.
And then when he helps them out to get him out, right?
Yeah, he breaks through the wall. He goes to the wall, I think, or something.
No, Arnold does, but J.K. Simmons knows who they are, and he goes, I'm going to get them out, and he tases both of them.
Yes.
Which is kind of crazy. When that happened, what do you think was going to happen next? The old put on the cop uniforms? They didn't do that.
Well, I'm surprised because they probably would have been a perfect fit anyway.
Oh, yeah, they would have been. The two cops that walk in are the ones that were the perfect,
And most likely, if they did that, they'd be standing in white boxers and a white T-shirt. Because that seems to be like the thing when someone steals like the security's clothes, they're always wearing white boxers and a white t-shirt.
Always.
Every movie.
It's part of the uniform. You gotta wear white underwear, white boxers, and a white beater. That's what you have to wear
every time.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, but the fact that Arnold, when you mentioned when he goes into the security guard room and the guy's on his phone, one of the most important jobs there. I love the way Arnold did it too. Is he kind of like flicked with his foot and he threw the guy into the TV screens. Like
I mean, you couldn't see the complete damage till later on when the cops walk in there.
Oh, yeah.
The entire room was just destroyed.
No one died there, but that was a lot of damage that the tax-paying dollars are going to have to take care of. That was like $50,000.
And this is a hospital, right? They were at a hospital, police station. No, a hospital, right? Or
that was that. Ooh, that was a police station.
Because
that was a hospital. No, that was a hospital.
Okay,
that was the nurse that was checking.
Correct,
the map.
And they were on the back. Okay, so they were in a hospital, and somehow there's a monitor in every single room in the hospital.
It's important. That Arnold.
I mean, because again, the security guard had. I mean, I'm not sure if that's really how it is in security in hospitals, but the guy had like 50 monitors, and somehow Arnold knew exactly where to find him.
Well, he probably worked there before. He probably had a job there. He probably got a job at every place there to know the schematics of every place that they might end up going. Or he knows in the timeline, because he's from 2029, that, they went to this hospital in 2017. Oh, Genisys, I have to get a job there. And he just knows everything.
I'm thinking that he waited 33 years. He had nothing else to do. He just did a lot of walking around and just scoping out everything and just... Clearly, no one's stopping him, so he just went wherever he wanted.
He was whistling, just sitting on the same bar bench.
So do you think he has like the same power as R2-D2? Like he'll stick his finger into like a socket and he could download all the blueprints of the entire hospital?
I agree. No, I think he did mention something like that because he was able to get information on something at one point in this movie. But no, I would just, we mentioned it before, I would love a movie of like him just being normal. Because he had to get a job. He doesn't have to eat, but he has to live somewhere.
It should be like Castaway with Arnold. Just Arnold, nothing else. And seeing how he survives for 33 years all alone.
That's doing normal stuff. Dating. Maybe he has a family. He had a family. They adopt it.
What? So he's dating like a washing machine? He's a robot. I mean,
if he gets the love.
Okay.
He cares about Sarah.
So clearly they're giving him the full body treatment of skin and everything else. Do you think they give him genitals?
I don't know.
I mean, if they try to pass him off as human, like, because if they're not, do you think he's like a Ken doll?
Oh, like bear down there? I would say he's bear down there, but maybe they did give him genitals for that one moment when somebody was like, "Hey, I read that Terminators, they don't have genitals, so show it." And then it's it's there, and they're like, "All right, fine, you're good. You can join us."
So then if they give it to him, do you think it works?
I would think so. If he can throw his kneecap back in place, I'm sure that can work.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what the point would be if I'm thinking they don't give him genitals because there's really no point to really give him genitals because he's not human. So I think he's more like a Ken doll. See, that would be funny when he walked up to the gang because he had no clothes on, and they pointed out like they laughed at him, like or something like because they didn't say anything about that. They just said that your clothes are at the dry cleaning or something like that. Okay,
but how wild was the scene when you see? That's the one thing that really was that I loved about this movie was John Connor. Obviously, we saw him get grabbed. But nowhere in my mind did I think what happened. Like when he showed up and said, "Guys, let's get out of here," and they
I did not think that was him. There's no way you thought that was him.
You didn't think it was him?
Oh, no. I thought it was like a T-1000 that was disguised as John Connor. I didn't think it was really him.
Well, you're right.
Well, you thought it was really John Connor from the future?
Yeah.
How did he get there?
I didn't know what timeline he could have somehow went back in or something. But the fact that
we saw him basically get murdered right before that Reese left.
We saw him get grabbed.
So you think that once Reese left, the guy let him go? And he's like, all right.
Hey, tossed him over his shoulder. What was everybody else with them bad too, or was it Matt Smith by himself? Like we didn't get any of that. They should have re-showed us that scene when he was explaining Skynet didn't kill me, they saved me. Like they should have showed us as
You think they just stood around?
No, but I'm saying how many people you think there were
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So yeah. I don't. Yeah, that's a.
That'd be interesting to find out.
If they have one computerized bad guy, I'm sure they had multiple all around. But they didn't even show any of that. Or they just stood around because they just watched the naked guy walk into the time machine and they were so distracted that they weren't paying attention to what was going on with John Connor.
They were just whispering to each other like, kind of small, right?
Oh, it really was cold in there.
But no, it was just so weird. But honestly, it was still shocking. I like you thought, that something was up. I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my God, that's him. But it was just so shocking that Arnold comes out of nowhere and just shoots the shit out of him. I'm like,
he comes out of nowhere all the time, though. He somehow
in this movie, there's so many times. The one later in the movie when he comes out of nowhere is so friggin' cool. Oh,
but he just happens to know where to go at all times. But I honestly didn't think it was the real John Connor. I just thought it was some kind of imposter or like a Terminator coming back as John Connor. Because if they can make an Arnold, they can make a John Connor.
But that was a cool aspect, like thinking of our heroes, Arnold aside, like one's attempting to kill her own son, which she's never seen him older. So obviously you still, even if you don't see your kid older, because she's dead. I don't remember how she dies or what year she dies in, and then the other guy, it's his best friend who he's like grown so fond of. And then he finds out just before this, that, right in the scene when they're talking, he finds out that I'm your dad. So it's like all these emotions, and then Arnold comes out of nowhere and shoots the shit out of him. And then just seeing his face, like go back to it was like, whoa, man.
That was like Lawnmower Man kind of stuff. Like,
no, it totally was.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. So, so badass, man.
Where does Arnold get all those guns?
Oh, well, he's been collecting them over the last 33 years.
From where? Where's
Underground
he
poker games? Underground poker games?
He had a stash of weapons, like a massive amount of weapons. Like, ridiculous.
And how about when they're fighting in the hospital and you have the air tank? So John Connor does the air tank and there's all these people like in the waiting room and stuff as they go through the wall fighting, and the air tank flies around and we see it like sort of disappear. I'm like, somebody died from that. Like somebody definitely. But the most random thing about this whole movie was it's so weird because you don't realize product placement sometimes, because this movie didn't have they weren't eating at restaurants. There was no like stores that they went to that they had the product. But how about when they were fighting in the hallway and he slams him on a vending machine of Pepsi Max? It was like it was like the thing laid over and you read it perfectly. And you're like, are we doing this? Terminator, we need that money? It's so ridiculous.
Well, do you see that oxygen tank happen in movies all the time, that it flies around like that? Do you think it really happens like that?
Oh, I don't know. But in Freddy vs. Jason, it's really good. Oh, yeah. When Freddy's, when they're flying off. I would think so, because I can tell you, let's go to a quick story. So I tried to do one of those on my Honda Civic. I tried to do that refrigerant cooling thing for the air conditioning. So I used the thing. I followed the instructions. But what I didn't follow is you couldn't you had to turn the knob off. I thought it was fully done. So I thought it was fully empty. So I didn't turn it off, seal it again. So I took the thing off and it shot out. I'm telling you, it was at my wife's parents' house. And luckily it didn't hit anything to break, but it went airborne.
Imagine you were standing over it.
Oh, it was in my hand. It flew out of my hand.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah. No, I was taking it off and it was I'm like, holy shit.
So it was like a Mentos thing when you put it in the
yeah.
That's really what the oxygen tank is. It's like dropping Mentos in a Pepsi bottle and shooting around. That's the way it looks.
In this scene it was so wild, but I do love the MRI machine. I thought that was such a cool looking scene. Just seeing him walking and talking shit to Kyle, he's like, you can't stop us. And he's just walking. You see parts of his body getting sucked back. There's like a trail of him while he's walking forward. That was really
well. It was also cool that it also got Arnold also, like in the beginning of it.
Oh yeah.
You know, so that was pretty cool. That, you know, because they easily could have forgotten that and just let him get out of there. But I mean, so I guess if Arnold travels in a plane, he's always going to bring off hit the metal detector. It's going to go off every time.
He can't travel by plane. But it was cool. A lot of cool setups because that was a setup for the end of the movie. But here's one thing. So John Connor's a bigwig at Genisys, right? Nobody's going to recognize him from this episode that just happened at the hospital. So when he's doing that press conference and he's talking with people, nobody's like, hey, John, there's a video on the internet, or people are looking for a man that fits your description.
Yeah, but he looks but we're talking about what, 20 years later, right? So he looks the same. Like he wouldn't look that way. Because he came back as his future self, not as the 2017 self.
No, because 2017 self, he'd be like 30.
Oh, it was only, well, we're talking about 2029, right? So yeah, it's only about 12 years. So
yeah,
okay.
No, what I'm saying is when he gets into the fight at the hospital, him working at at Genisys, wouldn't people there get wind that a guy that fit your description is? Don't the cops have a warrant out for his arrest too? Like this guy was trying. Yeah, like so many people saw him go through the wall fighting in that waiting room, but it's like, hey, isn't that the guy that's all over the news all the time?
So okay, so he's a big time person at Skynet, but in the future he's not.
No, he's not. He's planning to go back into that. I know, it makes no sense.
Okay, so but in the past he was, but in the future he never worked there.
I guess now the timeline is that he never worked there. Because they altered the timeline with him going back. No, that's what makes no sense about time travel movies, because I know like there's with timeline, it's like there could be a timeline A, B, C, D, blah, 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 blah. But for me, if it's like there's timeline A and it's his life, and then in 2029 he quote unquote gets killed, and then he is a T-3000, that's his model number, and he gets thrown back in 2017. It's like, I don't know.
So it's obviously at this point Sarah could care less about John. So shouldn't she just jump off the bridge?
I was thinking at one point, I go, why doesn't just Kyle just shoot himself in the head right now? Because if he did do that,
forget Kyle. Oh, well, yeah, but John's already born, so it wouldn't make a difference. It would be Sarah who would have to do it.
But that I know, but that wouldn't that not make sense? Like in the Back to the Future, like if Crispin Glover died,
correct,
in 84, like if Biff punched him and he fell on the concrete and died, like Marty would disappear right at that moment. That's how that should work.
I bet you if that happened, Marty would have looked a little bit like Biff, and then that whole future would have changed that way. But
that would have been a funny nightmare.
But if one of them, one of them did it, but again, it's the timeline, because he's already born. Would it make a difference?
Yeah,
if they did it, like it just doesn't make sense. Like I hate when they do this kind of stuff, because there's no way.
I guess you're right. In like 2017, that wouldn't matter. Yeah. So if she would have killed herself in 2017, or if he would have shot himself in 2017, it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
But I guess in 84, but would it matter in 84 because he was in the future and he was? I don't know.
So ridiculous.
Yeah. Because that's like the it makes no sense.
All right.
No
all right. Well, again, back to the fact that that Reese knows young Sarah. To me, screws up the entire future. That makes no sense at all.
Oh, you mean Arnold? Arnold knowing
Arnold. I mean, like it just. Yeah. All right. I don't know. All right.
Did you catch my favorite part of the movie? So when they go to when they're going to the like the bunker where she used to like go with her dad, and like where they have all their weapons and everything. Did you notice a picture on the wall?
I did not.
I can't share photos in this, but I'll tweet it out tomorrow when we're recording this the night before it goes live, but
was there like a commando poster?
No, it's a like a crayon drawing that my daughter would do. And it was like her standing with Arnold.
Oh, yes, I saw that. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And there's a gun in the hand.
Well, like, she threw it when she was 9.
But she handed that into school.
Why? What makes you think she brought it? Wait, you think she's living with Arnold? You think Arnold's taking her to school?
I think so.
I think Arnold was her school.
Or they were just training the whole time. You're saying her whole life was just training for this moment.
Arnold was not. He was a class parent.
Cookies.
I saw the picture. It would have been funny though if there was a Commando picture on the wall.
That would have been really funny if there was like random posters in there. But yeah, so then this part is when Arnold's hand's not working a little bit when they're loading all the bolts and the guns. But it's like the plan. They're gonna blow up the Genisys building.
Okay, hold on. So why doesn't his hand work?
Well, he's getting old, and then that's when
he's getting old. The outside skin gets old. The robot doesn't get old.
Skin gets the inside parts. They're probably not built to live forever. He's used that model essentially on Earth and in the elements for 40.
But they don't talk about. They're saying the outside because of what the tissue they used.
They were saying the outside he ages, but the inside things are just getting old because he mentions that. Yeah,
they don't get old. They don't get old. The Terminators don't. It's a robot.
Things break.
He's not getting old.
TVs get old. Things go out. Remotes stop working. You're like, oh man, didn't I just buy this? It happens. And listen, I love that Reese that hated him gave him a little vote of confidence, but not in the nicest way. He's like, you're old, but you're not obsolete.
Well, no. That's because Arnold said that in the truck to him. In the beginning,
he said the same.
Arnold said it to Reese because he says, why does he look older or something like that, or something. And Arnold said it to Reese, so Reese just threw it back at him later on because now that just shows they're bonding now.
Solid writing. Like the callbacks in this movie are really good. There's like 6 or 7 good ones. Obviously, the timeline stuff. Maybe we're just not timeline experts.
I hate old Terminator. I don't like that. It just looks stupid.
Oh, you don't like him getting old?
No, not at all. I don't like it. I don't like gray hair Terminator. I mean, it's so stupid. It's dumb.
Yeah, but nobody else can play that role, so it makes sense.
No, I get it, but you don't. Why you have to age him? You have to age him?
Well, he's old. What are you going to do?
Okay, if Johnny 5 lasted 40 years, you think he's an age?
Johnny 5 doesn't have human skin on the outside.
Right, and that's my point. The skin has nothing to do with the Terminator, so his hand should work.
I'm sure Johnny 5 would need new like rotors on the bottom.
I don't think so. I don't think. Wally, wasn't he in the future? And he lasted. He was. I feel that a robot.
Wally wasn't fighting people. Wally was working construction.
So what? The robot's Terminator's getting arthritis now because he was fighting so much. I hate it. I hate old Terminator.
He needed an oil change. He couldn't get an oil change. He needed an oil can. Like
so if he had no skin on there, he rusts when he goes out in the rain.
Yeah, that'd be good. Reese has to put an oil can on him. But I love the whole part of this movie. They need a large magnet, and the first thing I thought of, obviously this is a comedy movie, I just thought of like an Acme Looney Tunes giant red magnet, like because that's what they needed. And what Arnold had was, I don't know how he thought of it, but he had like brass knuckles, like these hand things that were like some sort of magnet.
Well, he uses that for physical therapy for his age, so he has.
He stole it from the.
So
from his, Oh my god, dude! And then right at this part too, because this is where they're really getting ready. This is like going into like the last act of the movie when she says that line, because they already talked about like that they have to have sex. And then he goes, "And you die in 48 hours," and I'm like, oh my god, like at least that's not a bad way to go out. If you know you're gonna go out.
Wait, it's not like he's gonna die while in the act of sex.
I would choose that.
Yeah, I think anybody would. Eddie Murphy on I think it was Raw. Might have been Raw.
One of the specials. Yeah, no, I know.
You know what you're saying when his father, the way his father died.
Yeah,
he came and went at the same time or something.
Yeah.
But I mean that's a little different, But to me, like, all right, you have sex, you meet her, and then you're gonna die. To me, that's the worst thing because once you have that, now he's gonna build that relationship with her, and then he dies in 2 days.
That's true.
So I think that's the worst way to die. It's like everything's working great now. You know, like I don't have to go back to the future where there's all these war and robots. I can build a life now. No, you're gonna die in 2 days. All right. So, okay, if that's the case, then why did they jump in that time machine and go right back to the future and bring her with him?
Yeah. So here's another timeline question, because I know, man, it seems like out of 75% of this review is going to be timeline, but I think it's what,
because the movie is so confusing because I feel like it doesn't follow the timeline rules on so many aspects, and I think that's why.
Yeah, and here's one right now. So if Sarah Connor in 1984 travels to the future, essentially she's not having her kid yet. So he really shouldn't be alive. But when he shows up in the bunker and they're like, John, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, you don't think of how many times I remembered hearing you tell stories about you and Grandpa coming here? Then I'm like, wait, Grandpa's died. Well, I don't know if they went before she was 9, but Grandpa's dead. And you're really not born yet because she didn't have those moments with you yet. Right? Like,
Grandpa died when she was 9. It makes no sense.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. Unless you're thinking about the other storyline from 1984, then it makes sense that
maybe
she didn't know the Terminator.
Well, maybe talking about Reese's grandparents.
No, that was her bunker. That was where she went with her dad. That's why she had her cartoon photos on the wall. He wouldn't. It's not like she knew Reese from the future, like everything about him, and they were like, "Oh, I know where his grandpa used to hang out. Let's go take over that spot." But I do love within seconds, she's like, "F this guy." She shoots him up, and then him coming out in the flames.
Yeah,
it was so bizarre in the sense that it seemed like there was all those motorcycles right there. No one sees
I said the same thing.
Person
of all things. Okay, not only that, of all things to grab or to get away, they take a bus.
I know.
Of all things, it was a bus they stole, right? Was it a bus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they have all these motorcycles there. I mean, you had a great throwback to like T2. You know, jump on the motorcycles. I mean, no, they take a bus, the slowest possible vehicle you can grab. That's your getaway car.
And it's easy to know that you're in it because it's so you grab it.
Oh, and you're right. There were so many people standing around when all this was happening. No one did anything. They were like almost going around, like they were ignoring it. Like if you're in New York City and you see like something going on, people just walk by and pretend like they didn't see anything.
Oh, a stabbing! Come on, it's a Tuesday. That happens all the time.
That's a light day.
Yes. No, but I was thinking when he walked out, when there was no reaction with all the motorcycles, in my head I was like, you know how cool this would be is because they had the capabilities in that factory, but it wasn't like full going yet, that they could build people. Because obviously we saw it work once because we saw that cop. So it would have been cool if there was a whole gang of them getting on the motorcycles and chasing them down like on the highway. Because dude, that scene was when they're on that bridge. That's like the only clip that I had to put together because I knew we were talking about other stuff. But dude, this scene, this is like a little combo of all of it.
Of all the things to grab, let's grab a bus. I mean, like it just
a giant bus.
A giant bus, yeah.
It's not like they couldn't fit. It's not like they have a lot of bags. They can fit that stuff in a sedan.
How'd they get the bus to drive?
Oh, dude, that was heartbreaking. And, you know, newsflash, that guy probably died. The guy just standing there in traffic. The cop gets
out. As cars are flying by. Yeah. I mean, and I didn't know. I mean, I know the Terminator is strong, but he's able to hold a bus dangling. That was like Superman. That was like Spider-Man and Superman stuff. That's not Terminator stuff. He's not that strong.
Yeah. I had this feeling in this movie, and obviously it didn't happen. I really thought he's going to sacrifice himself. I didn't know when, and I didn't think it was going to be there, but each time there was that moment that it was bad, like it could have happened. Like he would like save himself, like put himself, which he did, and then it survived. Well, we'll talk about the end because that makes zero sense.
Well, you know, again, whoever sent him the first time when she was 9, why didn't they send a couple of them?
Yeah, multiple ones. So they're not alone.
Have a gang.
You know what?
Correct.
Yes. Just two buddies. They can hang out for 34 years,
Hang out and like they'd be
school.
unstoppable. They would be unstoppable. Instead, they said, unless he was a prototype and he was the only one they made.
They should have had this has been perfect. You ready? They would have the regular one that worked out well and the other one's a defect, but they can only make two and it's Danny DeVito.
So it's like, what was that movie with Michael Keaton when he had like 5 clones?
Multiplicity.
And the end of one that was like a little silly.
Oh, dude, they had so many. Yeah.
No, but the one was like
the real man's man, and then there was the one that was like really slow. There was a slow one. Yeah.
Yeah. I said so.
Doug, I think his name's Doug in that movie. Is the really silly one is Doug. They call him Dougie. I think I'm pretty sure. It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you have like a Danny DeVito Terminator. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be really funny.
Well, they're making triplets, right?
Yeah, with Tracy Morgan.
No, and Eddie Murphy.
Oh, is that no? I thought Eddie dropped out. No,
sure? IMDb still has all 4 of them: Tracy Morgan, Eddie Murphy.
Interesting. And
Kevin Bacon is in Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, I saw that. That'll be good.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that because he plays a good bad guy. I hope he plays a bad guy in that.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
But yeah, so that scene's really cool. The special effects in that. But what does he pull? Because he cuts the brakes. Okay.
Correct.
So I guess he pulls the axle, right? And the axle sticks into the bridge.
Correct.
When you see that bus flip over, that looks so real.
But would a bus really flip like that? I mean, that bus, how high in the air did that go that it was able to flip like that? I don't
Science-wise, like if we had like Jamie Hyneman and all those people from Mythbusters, I would think that a bus would not be front
his
wheel.
name is Hyman?
Yeah, is his name Jamie Heilman? Maybe I forget.
I mean Hyman. That's an odd last name.
But no, I would think a bus. This is me. I'm not a car expert, but I would think it wouldn't be front wheel brakes, like front wheel drive.
Right.
So I would think. But I guess when that thing stuck into the ground, I guess that's what it was. When he ripped the axle and it stuck into the ground. But
think about how heavy that bus is, though, to flip like that. That's crazy. But it was to give you a little flashback of Speed when she couldn't. Oh, yeah. She couldn't stop it, and yeah.
But cool. Again, the cops are there so quick. They have the friggin' nails in the road. They have the thing ready to stop them. And how about when the bus is hanging over the edge? Like, that scene's wild. When John Connor is on the bottom of it, that's like freaky as hell, man.
And again, that happens in movies all the time, that it just happens to hang over. Like, does that happen in real life? The cars just dangle that are like, get in an accident on a bridge. They just happen to dangle.
From watching so many movies, I feel like if I'm ever in those situations, I think I could survive, because all those movies are, okay, nobody move. Okay, you go to the back as fast as possible. I feel like as soon as you move,
you notice that Arnold does a Bugs Bunny in this. So you know how like when he comes out of the cop car, that he was flying down the highway, he spins, he opens the door and he steps out as the car is about to crash. He literally steps on the highway. He at Bugs Bunny, if he's falling off a cliff, he just walks out of the car like right before it crashes and he's okay. Arnold does it on the highway. He literally steps out of the car and it's like spinning out of control and he's totally fine.
It's
all about timing. It's all about timing.
Oh yeah. And I always love when buses or anything that's hanging over in movies, when when it's about to fall and the person's in there getting held. I always thought that it's such a cool looking scene. And John Connor's able to grab, I guess at that point, I don't remember what that was. I don't remember them saying, hey, we're grabbing like the detonators and the bombs at this point.
Right.
But that's why he like reached at the last second to grab from that seat. But what happens next is not what I thought. I really thought we're about to see Arnold kill all these cops. No, we get, bad boys, what you want? What? And they're arrested?
And Arnold is also arrested, right? At points,
all of them. Like, they all get mug shots. They all get interrogated. Okay. Each one.
Arnold smiling at the mugshot with his teeth.
Him not knowing how to smile is really funny.
It's just ridiculous. Yeah, I mean that is pretty funny. I mean, you knew like it was going to be nonsense when he was getting interrogated.
Yeah,
it's so ridiculous.
Oh my God. But the scene that's really creepy is when they mentioned it early in the movie, they said, we found the match to your prince. And that was when they were in the hospital. And they mentioned like, oh, but you're 7 years old at this point. And it's like, it's kind of weird. But when you saw the kid on the other side of the glass with his parents, he's like, Dad, that kind of looks like you. And I'm like, oh, that's wild. I couldn't like, but again, how do you go on the rest of your life? That's all you think about. Just like JK Simmons.
Yeah.
That would be the rest of my life thinking I saw my kid grown up somehow.
Yeah. And Reese doesn't recognize like the guy.
Well, he can't see he doesn't see him at all. Ever.
Oh, I thought he did. Oh, I thought, okay.
No, he doesn't know. Even he sees the kid later in the movie.
Okay, I got you. Okay, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, because he knows where he grew up, so he went there. And what's her name knows because she had that. She didn't have that memory with him, but I guess she sees him. Maybe I don't know.
All right, I don't want to get a headache again.
Yeah, confusing. But we have Griffiths back, and we have the other Homeland Security, and then we have the other cop that we saw earlier in the movie. But I love when Arnold's sitting there and J.K. Simmons looking, and he thinks that Arnold's looking at him like, holy shit, it's the guy. When he breaks the cuffs and he goes through the wall, right at that same moment, the girl is like a T-1000 and starts shooting everybody up. And I'm like, holy shit. And he essentially saves J.K. Simmons. But the thing that sucked is, and I mentioned
he got shot. He did get shot though, right? Didn't he, J.K.? I thought he did get shot.
Oh, no, he had shot up on the roof with the helicopter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, he doesn't get shot at that point. But the fact that we didn't see her again, and Arnold didn't kill her. I feel like him and J.K. Simmons just walked through the wall, unless I missed it, or it was like a quick kill, because he had no gun at the time.
You're right. You're right. But so it makes you wonder, like, were there other Terminators planted in there?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I was thinking. That's why I was thinking a motorcycle scene. And I was like, oh, it's probably just John Connor. But then we saw that, and I'm like, holy shit, are we going to get more people? Nope.
Yeah.
Not at all. Just that.
That didn't make sense either. And, I thought it was going to be John Connor that was transforming into the girl. And I thought that was the whole, and that doesn't even, because again, the fact that you have just one extra Terminator for like a quick little scene and then no explanation.
Yeah. And even John, he only does the voice change. That's it. He doesn't do like the morphine at all. Nothing like that. But when they're when the helicopter chase scene is, oh my God, that's so crazy. The fact that they're almost away again, and he goes, yeah, your son taught me. That's what he says. How did you learn how to? And he's like, oh, your son taught me. So they're getting on there. JK's not gonna. All Arnold says is run like hell. And then at that same moment, that's when John Connor comes up, starts shooting, shoots him. And then within seconds, we're getting this crazy chase. Dude, when they were about to crash after getting shot was wild.
Can a helicopter do that?
I don't think
when it literally drops down the side of the building like that would, I mean, it looked cool, but like I don't think so.
Yeah, did you ever see it take off? It's like and then it starts going up very slow. I don't think they can go almost take they're going like probably falling down at like 50
it's like he stopped the motor to drop all the way down and then started to go right back up. Like, yeah, that was crazy. I mean, it's so dumb.
That whole chase scene, it looked really cool, but the scene I mentioned earlier when he was like, you have to stop him, what can you do? And he sees the tanker in traffic and freaking blows it up. And I'm like, oh my God. How many people died? The driver, people in the store that were right there lived above the building, the cars next to it. And
the maneuvers that he was doing with that helicopter was ridiculous.
And he's flown it maybe a couple times. He's like, "Oh, your son taught me." Not like, "Oh, your son taught me, but I've done this a bunch." He seemed nervous.
Very nervous.
He did good. He did well.
I think he did like Top Gun-ish. He was that good.
Yeah, but Arnold. How about what Arnold did?
Oh, when he jumped?
Shit, dude. When he says, "I'll be back."
Yeah,
and I'm like, and he swan dives like through it, makes it crash. Again, they're all their goal. They're racing. They're doing like a cannonball run to Genisys. And
correct.
You're telling me the one that crashes, John Connor's in there first. I know obviously he's not hurt, so he's not like in pain and having to do anything. But you think his body from when Arnold's fighting him at the end with that really cool laser thing, and you see him like get like slashed up, you would think the helicopter would like burn him a little bit, that he would be a little slow. No, he walks right into the building.
But he's a computer. He's like a computer image though. So it's like, what kind of injury is he going to get? He's
yeah. I guess
like, I don't like. See, I'm confused what John Connor is. Because he shows himself as human, but he has that computer. Like, is he like Genisys, that kid? Is he just computer generated?
I don't know if he's when I was reading online, he's like a T3000, which is like the most advanced. I guess the higher the number,
so he's not. Is he robot form? Like, does he just have John Connor's mind, or like I thought that John Connor became a computer image based on being grabbed by the guy in the beginning.
Oh, that's a great question.
And like he melted, like he changed into like Lawnmower Man. Like he became like a. That's what I thought. But like they don't really explain it. Like I was confused, kind of confused of what he is.
Yeah. Like if it's really him, or
I don't think he's a Terminator. I don't think he's a Terminator.
No, he's a T3000 because we do see him. But
isn't that a Terminator?
Yeah. So he is a Terminator, but I know what you're talking about because he is like. Because when his face gets slashed, it's still sorted together, even though Arnold goes full through it. So yeah.
Well, he can also change his look to his old look. Right? He changed, like he didn't have scars.
He got the scars away. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like what is he? Like I don't like. I'd be curious, like whatever it says, like on Wiki or whatever, like what he became. Yeah. Like he doesn't have skeleton. He doesn't have metal underneath him, does he?
No, but he has metal in his body because we see him getting pulled back by the magnets. So that's what stops him. So he is made of metal.
Yeah, but they don't. But they don't show that. So like it was just All right.
But yeah, so from there, this is when they're in there. He kills the security guard. He does the security guard's voice. But dude, when this is when we see Skynet as a child talking to Kyle and Sarah, and it's like so weird. It's like, yeah, we're gonna do good things. You're the one that's here to hurt me. I'm not bad. I'm like, wow, this is something.
Why do they got to make it a child? Like, what's the point of that?
Up. I know.
What's the point of that? Like, it just so it slowly grows, like Tamagotchi or whatever. Like you slowly, because it literally as it's you could see it like aging. It's like it makes why why wouldn't it just be a computer? Like, or you have to make it a child. This is a grown people, your human company.
Yeah.
You're going to make it a child? Like, it's just weird.
No, it was so weird. And then when you see John O'Connor show up and you're like, oh, he's about to kill them. Oh, you can't stop us. And they're like pointing to each other. And he even says later, which we didn't realize, if he, in his mind, I guess, so it must really be him because he says, if I kill any of you, then I don't exist. So somehow it really is John. So either
that's what I'm saying.
Sort
it's
of
weird.
warped his brain because it's not like he's like a mold of himself because then he wouldn't think that way. Like he had a fear of killing them. But dude, when Arnold comes in with like it looks like the landing gear for the helicopter and he throws it like a spear and he even says a one-liner. Oh, he says, stop talking or you talk too much. I think that's what he says.
Yeah. It would have been fun if he said stick around.
Oh, but the fact that he throws that through his chest, he's stuck into the computer screens. And then at this point, this is when we find out Arnold used to work here and he knows like everything. He has it set up that she can go into the bunker so they can survive a blast. And you're like, holy shit, man, he knows everything. But then this is when the computer goes from a day or 13 hours to 15 minutes.
And again, back to Arnold working there. What kind of hiring process do you have when this guy barely doesn't understand, common sense and common like language, and he gets a job at like the high security, high tech place?
Like, this guy's big.
How funny would that part of that process of watching a movie of Arnold like interviewing?
Yeah, he knows how to manipulate. Like maybe he did go to college. He was around for so long. Maybe he went to college, but he looked old the whole time, sort of. I guess, right? Oh no, he got older from 84 to 2017. We did see him age, so. I don't know. I have no idea.
That's so stupid. All right.
Yeah, it was just it was definitely silly. But and then they're trying to detonate the bomb because that's what they want to do is get into that room. So like the time travel in two senses, like the main core of Skynet is a time machine and also everything works from that. So they're going to detonate the bomb. And then right at that point, John comes. And somehow, even though they see him coming, he's still able to, he runs up, grabs his mom. And then he even reveals, like, I'm not going to kill her. But when she's like, you have to hit the button, he's programmed. Like the other one was programmed to kill Sarah Connor.
Correct.
He was save Sarah Connor. So he couldn't hit the button. So Reese is about to do it. And then like within seconds, man, we get a really cool fight scene.
Yeah, but did Reese, like, did he understand what was going to happen if he pushed a button?
Well, in his mind, I guess it would save the world. I don't know.
Then they could have done that a long time ago.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, if he was going to do it there, why go again? How many innocent people died from the time he met Sarah to now? He should have done it a long time ago.
Oh, like you're talking about to procreate, to make him. Yeah, no, I know. Because it's the same sense. Like if one of them die, there's no John Connor. But I guess in the same sense, because John didn't work at Skynet, this is going to happen no matter what. So maybe they needed to still blow up the core so none of the bad stuff happened. I know.
And again, the fact that they didn't have sex yet, but John is standing right there doesn't make absolutely no sense whatsoever, because it shouldn't make it. The fact that she mentioned, like, we have to have sex or something, or whatever, or Arnold mentions it, but they don't have to. If John's right there, what do they have to, so that they just basically ignored any kind of time rules whatsoever.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if John was, Kyle was like, nah, I'm into blondes. I'm sorry. I have a girl in the future. Could you imagine that? Like John is like ruining every relationship of him. So there's no feelings when he goes into the past, because maybe he's like, man, yeah.
I was going to say, or like, because John needs Reese to have sex with his mom, he basically forces Reese, like he holds them hostage. Hey, listen, you're not leaving here until you have sex with my mom.
Yeah. We're not leaving here until you stick your hoo dilly in her cha-cha. That would be a ridiculous scene. Yeah. But so that whole fight scene, so cool. And at that point, when Arnold's going one-on-one with John, the other two are trying to figure out how to do it. And that is a pretty funny scene, because each time a Matt Smith hologram shows up, they talk trash to it and then shoot wherever the hologram's getting spit out. And then they're able to eventually get out of the room. Like, they're able to detonate the bomb, break the glass. And I just thought in my head, I'm like, the holograms can talk, and they talk shit too. How about when it's like, oh, I thought you were going to save us? Because even when they went through the one door, they were still stuck. They went to like a dead end. That was pretty funny.
Well, they closed the door. Yeah, the hologram had such a I forget what movie it was. There's a movie that has like a hologram like that would talk to the people, and they were trying to destroy it. What movie was that?
War Games?
It reminded me of that. What? What'd you say?
I was joking. I said War Games.
Oh,
because the computer kind of talks.
Yeah. Or Airplane too.
Or Eagle. You're talking about Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf?
No. This is an older movie. The computer
is the whole thing of that movie. I know. If you guys are going to watch Eagle Eye, just stop before I said Eagle Eye, because that's the spoiler of the whole movie.
Why would you watch Eagle? Why would anyone watch Eagle Eye?
Oh, it's a good movie. It's still good.
Wait, who's the stars in that? There was
Shia LaBeouf and that Michelle.
Okay.
I forget her last name.
Name a movie that he made that was good.
I never
saw
Holes. I did like Disturbia, like the
That's
spin-off.
a remake of Alfred Hitchcock.
It's still good.
Come on, it's Shia.
Nah.
I like his videos where he's causing havoc more than his movies. So.
Oh my God. So yeah, so this is where Arnold, he's getting beat, but then he's sacrificing himself. They're on the thing. He says, press it. No, Pops, I can't. No. And then they press the time machine, because the magnets will rip up, the metal. So then they're able to get down just in time. They get into the bunker, and they're just closing the door when they detonate the bomb. Like, they're just closing it. And the thing that's crazy is, if there was a bunker in the bottom of a building to save people in the case of like something, I don't think that you design it that the air is going to run out in like a day, because they said we're running out of air. And I'm like, why would you be running out of air? Like,
what's the point of having a bunker then?
Exactly. Oh, we're gonna die, but not like we're not gonna crush and die.
No, we're gonna be safe on that part, but we're gonna suffocate to death.
Yeah. In like 3 hours afterwards. So at least we get an extra 3 hours.
You know what? I think I'd rather get burned up, with like an atomic bomb because it'd be quicker than suffocating and dying that way.
Yeah. No, you're right. And she wants to find Arnold. And at first she thought it was like emotion. And then she was like real serious about the job at hand. She's like, I just want to make sure I find the parts so nobody could find it and replicate it. And you're like, oh shit. And then knock at the door. Now this makes no sense.
Oh, this doesn't make sense.
No, out of all the things, this makes no sense. So how is he a T-1000 now? Or T-3000, whatever it is. He has a hook for an arm to break open the door.
I know. I don't know. Did they call him a T-2000 whatever?
I think he calls himself a T-8000. I think one of them, I think he's a T-8000 or something. I'm like, what's happening right now? He went from 800 8,000, but how'd that happen in those instances? Or is he another one that came back from the future? It doesn't make any sense.
And what did they just go by like hundreds? Like what happens to T 1001?
I know, like 409.
I mean, like there's got to be other.
Yeah, like 409. They got that name because it was a 409th mixture. There wasn't like T842. Like that one didn't flow off, I guess.
I want to see those. I want to see the one that didn't pass, inspection.
Yeah. But no, so then we get the creepiest part of the movie. Like the fact that they go to talk to.
I know.
But again, this doesn't make sense again because isn't essentially like Skynet's dead at this point because they blew up the building? Maybe they can rebuild, but he goes, I want you to repeat after me. Repeat to yourself over and over again. Skynet is Genisys, or Genisys is Skynet. Okay, can you do that? And I'm like, where are the parents?
I always said the same thing. Where are the parents allowing him to talk to strangers? Adults. Like, yeah. And this kid's gonna remember when he at that age. He's gonna forget. Yeah. He's gonna forget by the time he gets home. He already forgot what the guy said.
And then what happens after this weird scene? They kiss, and then Arnold like gives like a thumbs up, sort of, and smiles creepy. And that was like his like, okay, you guys can have sex.
That is the creepiest smile that he does like a few times in this movie, and it's just ridiculous. Oh there's a mid-credit scene, right?
And I went through it. I skimmed through it. There was one. What was it?
They were inspecting where the explosion was of the I think of the time machine, and then something I forget. There was something that it was a quick little scene, but it was something that shows that like there's still life there.
Oh,
for the movie, which I don't think this movie has anything to do with the newer one, but I saw the new one recently, and like I think it's old Arnold again.
Yeah, I might have to check it out. It's Arnold. So that was Terminator Genisys. Jamie, would you recommend people to rack their brain about the timeline?
Again, do I think it's a good movie for the? Again, I never saw Salvation, so I don't know. If you're a Terminator fan, you got to watch it. I think you have to watch it. It's confusing. The action is good. The special effects are good. But you're going to be confused, and it's definitely not one of their best ones, but it's just for the special effects and action. It's worth watching. And it's Arnold. I mean, to me, I watch every Arnold, so it doesn't make a difference.
Oh, me too. No, he's one of those, him, Stallone. Nah, not Seagal, but
I'll tell you though, I like, what is it? Emily Clark or Amelia Clark, whatever.
Amelia Clark. Yeah.
I loved her in Game of Thrones, but as Sarah Connor, I think Linda Hamilton crushed it so bad that having someone else play that role, it's tough. It's a tough role to fill, and I don't think she's too cutesy. Like where
I feel like think she's not.
She's not that.
Like Linda Hamilton looked like She looked
well,
tall.
not in the first
Like,
one.
I mean,
Not in the first one, though. First one, she was
no,
chubby.
I'm not saying jacked. I mean, like, she was tall. I feel like she was as tall as Michael Biehn. Maybe
yeah, but
Michael
she's
Biehn-
also Linda Hamilton is gruff looking. Like she looks hard. Like her face looks hardened. Like where Emilia Clarke is she's too cute to play this like badass like warrior that's fighting. Like it's just like I feel like it was a miscast. I don't think like she fits that good Sarah Connor role.
I think it'd be too hard to cast out. I think she did a good job. I think Jay Courtney.
She did,
I
but
I like him a lot. He's good.
He's good. But I just feel like I think I mean I don't know who could have done the role, but I just feel like maybe like a Jessica Biel probably could have done well. I just think like she's very young looking and she's just too nice looking for the role because it is a tough role. Sarah Connor is a tough so.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, I'd say recommend watching the special effects, and I think maybe if you can figure out the timeline issues. Again, anytime you watch a movie that has something that gets you thinking during the movie, even though it's frustrating, it still makes you think, and that's fun to do. You're like involved in while you're watching the movie.
It does. The only thing with this movie also is it's very long. It's like over 2 hours long.
It was 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, so for a movie it's got to be. And for a movie that's very confusing, that's a long time to watch a confusing movie. So I think if they were able to cut it down, because I think there was a lot of dialogue with Sarah and Reese that they probably could have cut out some of those scenes. I think it would have been a little better, but it just felt long.
Oh no, it definitely felt long. I think anytime a movie is over 2 hours, I think even over an hour 30, like I don't know.
Listen,
perfect runtime.
We saw some movies that like 80 minutes that felt like it was long. So, I mean, I don't know how long Mirror Mirror was, but I'm assuming it was probably close to the 80 to 90 mark. And that was rough.
All right. So that was Terminator Genisys. And next up is a sequel that people have been talked about for years. It was disappointing on the screen, but the behind the scenes stories about some of the people that couldn't work in it, that maybe didn't want too much money, which is one thing that hurt the picture, was Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And for it, this is like one of the coolest interviews that I've done because pandemic, this was like 2021 pandemic, Jamie doing his job, reaching out and getting us people to chat with. There was an amazing actress, stuntwoman. She's going to be directing, and Marjean Holden. And I connected with her and we just could never connect again. We picked a date, nothing happened. And then just the email, she wasn't seen, but we finally connected like Saturday night. She emailed me back and I was like, oh my God, I would love to interview you. So we talked and she had a really cool role in Mortal Kombat. She was like one of those fan favorite characters, Sheeva. And some of the other roles that she had over the years were so cool. She had an awesome scene. She told me about working on John Carpenter's Vampires. She was just a stunt player, but they wanted her to do like a burn. And she was like, I don't want to mess around with that. They're like, you know what? You can be one of like the main vampires in this big scene. So she had a cool story about filming that. But her story about making it to Hollywood, obviously people that listened before, those are my favorite stories, like the origin stories of people's careers. But the fact that she was like at Arizona State, she works on like this small movie called Campus Man. And then her first role is in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Pretty cool. She's one of the speakers, one of the student speakers. So that was pretty rad. She has some great credits over the years, great stunt. So I love hearing all those different parts when it comes to people. And she loves what she does. So lots of passion. Love talking to Marjean. So yes, that's next week. And then Mortal Kombat Annihilation the following. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.